Welcome to the top stories. We start today with major developments in Wyoming as the State Loan and Investment Board voted to approve a $5 million grant for unmet housing needs across the state. This decision comes after a heated debate regarding citizenship verification, specifically concerning the proposal put forth by Secretary of State Chuck Gray. We dive into the specifics of how this funding was allocated and the complex constitutional arguments that shaped the final decision.
Never get caught with a dead phone again. This INIU portable charger is compact, travel-friendly, and gives you fast 45-watt charging with a built-in USB-C cable, so there's no need to carry extra cords. With 10,000 mAh power, it's perfect for busy days, trips, emergencies, or anytime your battery drops too low. Grab yours on Amazon through the link in the comments before your phone hits 1%.
Next up, we shift gears completely to the world of finance and institutional investing. Private Advisor Group, LLC has just opened a significant new $12.8 million position in AXTI stock, as disclosed in a recent SEC 13F filing. We will break down what this move signals among institutional investors, look at insider trading activity, and examine the recent analyst ratings surrounding this particular stock. In blockbuster entertainment news, the Michael Jackson biopic has delivered an incredible opening. Lionsgate has reported a massive $97 million debut in North America, significantly surpassing all previous records for a non-adaptation film. We examine the box office performance, the production details, and what this monumental opening means for the film's legacy. Finally, we turn to a massive shakeup in public health infrastructure following the dismantling of USAID. We look at the devastating impact of the cuts, the concerns over infectious disease surveillance, and the call for an independent agency to redefine American foreign aid. Stay with us all day for the full breakdown. Noi Dung Kai Tait. Cheyenne, the Wyoming State Loan and Investment Board has approved a $5 million allocation for unmet housing needs grants across the state, concluding a contentious session marked by significant debate over eligibility criteria, specifically concerning non-citizen residents. And the decision followed a period of stalling. Stemming from a prior confrontation between Governor Mark Gordon and Secretary of State Chuck Gray over a proposal to mandate citizenship verification for housing beneficiaries. The initial session had collapsed when the board could not agree on Gray's proposal, leading to a public exchange where the governor reportedly told the Secretary of State to shut up, prompting a subsequent formal apology from the governor. The $5 million funding is part of an ongoing effort to address housing shortages. Building upon $5 million appropriated by the Wyoming legislature in 2023 for infrastructure projects. To finalize the allocation, the board prioritized applications based on their ability to maximize new housing units per dollar invested. To bridge the ideological divide regarding citizenship status, Superintendent of Public Instruction Megan DeGenfelder introduced a /global/ amendment, developed in consultation with federal housing and urban development officials. This amendment would require grantees to verify that beneficiaries are either U.S. citizens or /eligible aliens under Section 214 of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1980. And this inclusion of /eligible aliens drew immediate opposition from Secretary Gray, who argued that state benefits should not extend to resident aliens. However, State Treasurer Kurt Meyer countered by citing the Wyoming Constitution, which mandates that no legal distinction shall be made between resident aliens and citizens regarding property rights, warning that excluding residents could violate his oath of office. To ease administrative concerns, State Auditor Christy Racines suggested expanding verification methods beyond the federal SAVE program to include E-Verify or a valid Wyoming Real ID. The board clarified that these citizenship requirements would apply only to projects directly funding housing units, exempting pure infrastructure projects like roads or sewer lines. /N/N. Despite the philosophical friction, the board systematically approved projects, increasing funding amounts as necessary to meet the $5 million cap. The meeting officially concluded the allocation phase for the Unmet Housing Needs Grant Program. /N/N. The Office of State Lands and Investments will now oversee the administration of these grants, requiring annual reporting to verify that all housing beneficiaries are U.S. citizens or /eligible aliens. /N/N. In closing, Treasurer Meyer suggested that future housing support might be better managed through alternative avenues, such as the Wyoming Community Development Authority's down payment assistance programs, rather than complex infrastructure grants managed by the state board. Private Advisor Group, LLC has recently increased its investment in AXTI, opening a new $12.8 million position, as disclosed in a recent SEC 13F filing covering the period ending March 31, 2026. This filing provides insight into the fund's current holdings. The full portfolio of Private Advisor Group, LLC can be reviewed on Quiver Quantitative, which also tracks the largest institutional owners of AXTI. Market activity surrounding AXTI shows significant institutional interest, with 100 institutional investors adding shares to their portfolios and 28 decreasing their positions in the most recent quarter. Tracking hedge fund activity is facilitated through Quiver Quantitative's Institutional Holdings dashboard, offering access to data on hedge fund moves and 13F filings via their API. Insider trading activity for AXTI has been characterized by selling. Insiders have traded the stock on the open market 33 times in the last 6 months, with all 33 transactions being sales and 0 purchases. Wall Street analyst sentiment remains positive, with one firm issuing a buy rating and no firms issuing sell ratings in recent reports. Over the past 6 months, 3 analysts have issued price targets for AXTI, resulting in a median target price of $21. For comprehensive data, including detailed insider transactions and analyst ratings, investors are directed to Quiver Quantitative's specialized dashboards and API access for AXTI. Lionsgate's biopic about Michael Jackson, titled Michael, achieved a massive North American box office debut, opening to an estimated $97 million. This performance positioned the film ahead of its competition in a record-breaking debut. Michael Jackson debuted in 3,955 cinemas across the U.S. and Canada and surpassed weekend estimates by approximately $30 million, marking the biggest unadjusted opening weekend ever for a biopic. This figure outpaced previous records, including Oppenheimer by $82.5 million in 2023, Straight Outta Compton by $60.2 million in 2015, and Bohemian Rhapsody by $51.1 million in 2018. For Lionsgate, this was their biggest bow since the pandemic and 2015's The Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 2, which grossed $102.7 million. Michael secured the studio's 6th biggest debut ever, making it the largest launch for a non-adaptation. The film also recorded the biggest opening weekend of 2026 so far for an original, non-franchise, non-superhero feature. Universal handled international distribution, reporting a $120.4 million weekend, leading to a $217.4 million global bow. Despite generally poor reviews, strong word-of-mouth drove audience turnout. The production, valued at approximately $200 million, received clearance from the Michael Jackson estate and underwent 11th-hour reshoots, paid for by the estate, to remove any mention of child abuse allegations. Audience demographics showed a 61% female crowd and a 66% audience aged 25 and above, with Jafar Jackson playing Michael Jackson, alongside Coleman Domingo as his father Joseph and Nia Long as his mother Catherine. The combined 3-day weekend for all releases estimated at $152.5 million, showing a 2% increase compared to the comparable session a year prior, boosting the year-to-date box office to $2.57 billion and an estimated 14.3% ahead of 2025 projections. Cinema United president and CEO Michael O'Leary noted that the success proves audiences respond to compelling stories. The film is slated to be introduced to buyers at the upcoming Cannes Marché by the German sales outfit. The dismantling of the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID, has exposed deep fissures in public health infrastructure globally, with estimates suggesting hundreds of thousands of deaths resulted from its destruction. The agency, which managed a $35 billion annual budget, was severely targeted by political appointees, including those associated with the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, and figures like Elon Musk, who characterized USAID as a subversive organization. Seasoned bureaucrats were fired, and funding for critical programs, including AIDS medication and clinical trials, was frozen. Nicholas Rich, a TB specialist who became head of USAID's Global Health Program amid the purge in early 2025, documented the agency's demise in his new book, Into the Wood Chipper. Rich revealed the farcical and distressing realities of the cuts, noting that staff were asked to create presentation materials in a style reminiscent of Barney while discussing drug-resistant tuberculosis, and that some believed the agency's work was primarily focused on federally prohibited abortion funding. Rich's account points to a confluence of factors leading to USAID's downfall. While Elon Musk's obsession with tearing down the agency was a catalyst, internal dynamics, including former appointees with personal grudges and internal power struggles, played a significant role. Rich suggested that some individuals within the leadership sought revenge against staff who had leaked information about them. The impact of the cuts is stark, particularly in developing nations, where the demise of USAID has created vacuums in public health, with some areas seeing a resurgence of diseases like AIDS. Rich detailed the human toll, including overseas workers being forced to cancel medical appointments and contractors being abruptly dismissed. Rich himself faced immediate repercussions, being placed on administrative leave after issuing a memo detailing the human cost. His book has garnered significant attention, leading to positive reactions from former colleagues who are interested in understanding the incompetence and cruelty of the DOGE team. Rich highlighted that the agency's vulnerability stemmed partly from public skepticism regarding foreign aid when domestic issues were pressing. He argued that USAID's efficiency, saving 92 million lives over 2 decades through partnerships, was often overshadowed by political maneuvering that framed its work as wasteful, ignoring its role in building crucial global stability. A major concern raised by Rich is the loss of early warning systems for infectious diseases, which were severely curtailed. Data released on PEPFAR indicated a cessation of testing services and prevention activities, signaling a shift from ending the HIV pandemic to merely preserving treatment for diagnosed patients. Furthermore, the end of global immunization campaigns raises serious fears about future child mortality rates. Experts suggest that while the destruction of USAID was driven by ego and political agendas rather than genuine reform efforts, there is an opportunity to redesign the agency. Advocates call for an independent agency for international development, emphasizing the need to rebuild partnerships based on goodwill rather than transactional, exploitative agreements. There is growing political will to demand the agency's return, with some polling suggesting that restarting USAID would not be politically costly.